Welcome to the March meeting for the Goffstown Economic Development Council. We'll start off with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. So we'll start off with a roll call. I am John Napoli, Vice Chair, chairing tonight as Mr. Chair Chet Bowen is unavailable. So we'll start off, John Napoli, Vice Chair.
Jim Craig, Select Board Representative.
Sarah Smith-Chupakis, Member.
Joanne Duffy, Planning and Economic Development Director.
Dick Bruno, Member.
Charlie Birchmeyer, Member.
Okay. So we have a quorum, right, Joanne?
Yes.
So if we want, we have a couple of past meeting minutes to review and approve. So we'll start off with the January minutes. We didn't have a quorum last meeting in February, so we have the January 3rd meeting minutes to review and motion to approve. So pause for a minute.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Dick motion, Charlie second. All in favor of the minutes?
I'm going to abstain because I wasn't here.
Okay. So we have one abstain. All in favor? Charlie? Alright, so 4 of us. Alright, and so that pass rate, Joanne, is our quorum for?
You don't need to have that a certain number in the positive. You just
Okay.
need to have a quorum
Okay.
to vote on something.
Very good,
Aye.
easy.
Alright.
Alright, let's move it along. February 7th minutes. If we did not establish a quorum, Joanne, are we doing anything with these minutes?
We posted them, but obviously they're just like notes. If you see anything that you feel should be changed, just speak up and we'll do that.
For those that were here, any comments or items to bring up with the February notes?
No, I don't have anything. I think Joanne and I were the only ones that were here.
Alright, so we don't need to vote and approve anything there,
No.
correct? Alright. So, moving on to our first order of business, we have a guest here tonight. So we have Cindy from White Birch Eatery, a place that we've been quite frequently. So Cindy, if you wanted to come up.
Good evening.
Hello.
So I am just here to kind of hear a little bit more and hopefully get some answers. I don't really have anything super pressing, but I was, wondering how or where with all the 55 plus communities and buildings that are coming in, how we're incorporating them into the community with, whether it's transit or it's senior facilities or things like that. Is there any plan for any of those?
So we don't have a town senior facility. There are facilities at the Y that do cater to seniors. They have a certain section that they built a few years ago. As far as transportation, we do have an agreement with Manchester Transit, and they run a bus through town from 9 to 2 every day. So the thing is, it's mostly geared for doctor's appointments, but it can take you anywhere in Goffstown, Bedford, Manchester. So if you have a doctor's appointment, or say you just wanted to go to the library or out to breakfast, all you have to do is call 24 hours in advance and get on their list, because they do pick you up at your door.
Oh, okay.
Now, doctor's appointments have a preference. So if they have too many people, it's a smaller bus. If they have too many people, they'll take the people
They'll
that
bump
need
them
that
off.
first. But typically, I don't think there's a problem with people getting bumped.
Just because we at White Birch are part of the Meals on Wheels senior dining program. So to be able to welcome new seniors and let them know of the great things that are out there, which I didn't know that there was a bus, so I don't necessarily know that they know, or some
Yeah.
people know that there's a bus.
There,
Or-
most of the senior housing is, they have a condominium, so there's an association. So we could always give you the name of the
Their
association
HOA, yeah.
if you wanted to contact them.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So I get to be in that nice little area of Penardville versus Goffstown. Yes, it's always quite a fight. And we added Starbucks, or not we, I don't know, I didn't add it, but Starbucks came. Yeah, that was me. And I appreciate it, I enjoy it. I think it brings the younger crowd from St. A's over here and things like that. What are the plans to continue to expand that kind of Ghost Plaza, which I know there's a new Mexican restaurant going in, and or build next to Starbucks? Because we've heard some rumors, but we've heard everything from, mayonnaise sandwiches to Burger King to everything in between.
So the owners of the plaza where Starbucks is located, they just went before the zoning board last night to put in smaller housing, how would I describe this? Housing for smaller homes.
Okay.
And they were denied. They needed approval, they needed a variance because it's zoned commercial. And the zoning board denied it, so I don't know what their plans are going forward.
For the rest of that area behind like the bank.
Yes,
That's it. Okay.
there's one lot left. As far as that plaza goes, we've had some difficulties trying to get any information from the owner, and we just find out that people are moving in, they show up and say, I need a sign permit or something, and then we're like, oh, you're here. So the other difficulty with that plaza is there was a lot of flooding that occurred.
I heard a
with
lot
the
of water
pipes
damage.
bursting.
Right.
And so they're having a hard time renting with the damage. Somebody goes in and looks at a damaged unit, they're usually not convinced that that's where they want to be.
Right.
So
Are there any funds available to help assist that business owner with correction or reconstruction?
no, there's
No.
not really grants out there at the moment for private ownership. Unfortunately, the people who own the place are not on site very much, so it's hard to get them to really do anything. We've asked them to fix the fence, the perimeter, around the perimeter. It's all falling down in the back, and they just don't respond.
Do they also own that pad site?
The pad site where Pizza Hut was?
with-
Yeah, they do.
Okay.
Yeah.
What else do I have? Are there any chances for more pocket parks? We have like one right near us where there's like a little park and they have like a little book swap or
Yeah.
anything like that. Do we have more plans for any of those coming
There
up?
hasn't been any discussion about that with the Parks and Rec or the Planning Board or anything, but it's certainly something to think about when a project comes in.
Who establishes those? Who-
The one-
Who set the ones that?
The larger one that used to be there where Franklin Savings Bank is, the owner of the property, which is T.F. Moran, or the Cruz family, they just put that in one day, and it was there for years, and then it was removed when the bank went in, and the planning board was not very happy about the park being taken away, but the property is zoned commercial, and the intent is to put a business there, and that's what they did. But, that was probably larger than your normal pocket park. But it would be something the planning board could ask for when a project comes in, if there's enough land available. Typically,
That could be a condition of.
yeah, condition of approval.
plan.
Typically, the lots in Penardville are not very large, so it's hard to, if a business wants to come in and use the entire property for their business, and that's how it fits. And the big thing is they always look, depending on the use, but for fast food places, they always look for additional parking. So they'd rather, the planning board focuses on parking versus a park. But if they were to change their mentality a little bit, it would be nice to have some parks.
And this might not be this board, it might be somebody else, but is there any thought or chance to incorporate Pinardville a little more than Goffstown?
You know, I tried a few years ago, when I first moved here, 40 years ago, I was confused because there's a sign at the end of 114 and 114A that says Goffstown, and it shows an arrow facing left or facing north. 5 miles, I think it says, something like that. And I was driving and I'd be like, what do you mean Goffstown 5 miles? I thought I was in Goffstown.
Right.
And so a few years ago, I called, I'm going to try again, because I called the DOT and asked them, that's a state road there, asked them, can you change that to say Goffstown Village 5 miles? I think it would make more
Because
sense.
it says Pinardville the other way, right?
Yes,
Right.
it does, and they told me no. But there's
Really?
people there now that I actually deal with on a pretty regular basis, so I think I'll make that request again.
Is it something that, like, the Main Street, who puts out the flags and the banners and all those kind of things?
The flags along Main Street here are put out by the town. I don't know which banners you mean.
Oh, well, just when they have things coming up. You know, like, it's this 200
Hmm.
yards and then it
Yeah,
stops.
yeah,
Could it continue on flagpoles, even if it's every third flagpole?
right.
know, or,
That's
phone
something
pole.
the selectmen, you would talk
Talk
to
to
the
them.
selectmen about. But it's a great idea.
Just, I mean,
And
and,
something different down in Pinardville.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or
Something more
they
inviting.
don't really put anything down there.
No.
No, they
Not
don't
that I
even
know of.
ask, like, they're having, like, I have reached out to the Main Street program because when they're having an event in the village, I said, I'd really like to put a sign out at Charlie's because we're right on the corner, like, you know, the event's this way with an arrow, because I think that would be directive, you know, and helpful. And this year they've responded, so maybe
Yeah.
we'll get a sign at least.
we seem to be like the last ones that are remembered. And all of a sudden they're like, oh, we need another vendor. Are you free? And it's like, now you want my sponsor money? Like,
They don't, I know, they don't forget all
Yeah.
the gift certificates they need,
Right,
that's
that they
for sure.
need, right.
I think, you know, I've been around for a long time, and that's been the question for so many years, right? And Pinardville versus
Yeah.
the village, but I think it's gotten better from what I see. People are more conscious about Pinardville. It's part of our town. And I know, you know, I'm not sure if you understand what we do. We're trying to help
Build it up, right.
businesses and building that up and trying to get people to fill those empty spaces and that sort of thing, so.
Beautiful.
Julian, so for, you know, for that type of, you know, kind of festiveness or something, you know, banners or something going down Pinardville, is there a particular route that could be facilitated through?
Yeah, I believe they would make an appointment, or, you know, if you had other businesses that were interested in the same thing, make an appointment with the select board, and you need to do it in writing, there's a form that they use. And then just go meet with them and talk to them about it and see if they would have, you know, the extra money. I don't know what they cost and what's involved. I think the highway department installs them, but I'm not really sure.
Right.
And I don't know how much they cost, and maybe, you know, there's a possibility they could put it in next year's budget, because this year's budget hasn't been approved yet till next week, but there's no ability to change it at this point. But maybe there'd be extra money from some other line or something that they could use. I can't imagine they're that expensive, but it seems like everything's cost so much now, I don't know.
And I think that's a good idea, because if you do it all at the same time, that says Pinardville is Goffstown.
Right. It's too bad that it, I know the history of it, and it's, you know, it was named after someone, but it's almost too bad that they started to call it Pinardville and not just have it be
And then we
part
have
of
the issue with the
Goffstown.
zip code. is
Yeah.
different.
Don't start with
You
zip
know, so-
Yeah.
I was gonna bring it up, I was like, no.
This is one of our selectmen,
Listen,
Jim
listen.
Craig.
We end up with a lot of people in the middle of the baseball field because they type in 571 Mass Road Goffstown and they end up in the baseball field instead of
Really?
next,
That's where it
instead of
brings
White,
them, huh?
that's where it brings them. Yep, to that transfer.
Really?
Yeah, that's where it sends them.
You'll have to
You
put,
can
you'll have to put a
contact-
sign up.
All right.
You can
Turn around
contact-
3 miles that way.
You can contact Google and they'll change that for you.
Yeah.
I actually contacted Google recently you know those signs that you put up for kids when they're graduating?
Mhm.
And it has their name on it. And it turned up on Google when you looked at my house. And somebody said, you should ask them if they could just black that out. And I said, really? I would never think to do that. And I contacted them and they did it like immediately. It was crazy, but just because,
Because
you
there
know.
was a name, oh,
It had a
there's
name.
on
You
the
can block
side.
out your house.
And
too.
she's a
Yeah, you
minor, you
can.
know, so. But yeah.
Has that come up, Sarah? I know you have a good relationship with a number of the folks in the businesses over in Pinardville.
Yes,
Do you
that
think
definitely has
that's-
come up.
That's something that
That is one of the
others would be
things-
interested in?
That is one of the things that is brought up frequently, is the flags and banners and,
Yeah, sure.
yeah.
I think,
When there's a celebration for something, if the town is celebrating
Yeah.
something, it's
should be
part of the
the whole
town.
I think they feel like the stepchild.
Yeah.
That,
No.
yes, that's what it
That's what we
usually
are.
is brought up as.
That's a,
Cindy, I live down in Pinardville too, I live on College Road,
Oh,
so I know exactly what you're talking about. I also have been to White Birch a number of times. Now I'm gonna have to hide like this when I
it's okay.
go. It's hard to stay away. But I mean, this is a really valid point. I know Sarah's been working a lot on this with the businesses. Hopefully we can get something together and get them together in a concentrated effort
Yeah.
and make those select board people listen.
I am having a meeting with the Lions Club at Charlie's tomorrow at 5:30 because they want to discuss, because I had posted if someone wanted to do a cleanup in Pinardville, 'cause, you know, spring cleanup kind of thing. And they had said that they was something that they wanted to do on their agenda, and so they said, well, why don't we just, you know, let's incorporate it and do it together. Just maybe start off at Charlie's, but that might be something where you could talk to some other people.
I mean, I think it would be nice if there was, you know, we've talked about branding, you know, before, kind of like, you know, for Goffstown, including Pinardville. I mean, it'd be nice if there was a common, you know, banner brand for Goffstown, but, you know, I think that, you know, the village has its own personality, Pinardville has its own personality that I think, you know, a lot of the folks in those districts that really.
I
Grassmere.
know, I was just gonna say, Grassmere checking in.
Don't forget about Grassmere.
That's right.
You
So
know,
it's like Tri-Town.
yeah, and so having, you know, like, you know, I think that would be, you know, maybe it's pie in the sky type thing, but, you know, something to, you know, for consideration of. It's under a common brand of Goffstown, but, you know,
Hey, we can-
different
we can
flavors and
Post it
areas.
somewhere and have people, you know, we got a lot of creative people in town. Maybe someone can come up with a logo.
Yeah. So it'd be interesting. So if there's other businesses or folks that are, you know, willing to have those conversations to bring them up and, you know, and advocate for something like that, I think, you know, it speaks to that point of having something a little bit more celebratory in those locations. Anything else, Cindy? Anything, you know, business related that, you know, you're looking for advocacy for your own business or other questions or comments?
Not necessarily. I mean, so we're on our 5th year. We just, on the
Wow,
9th will be
already.
our 5th year.
It's quick.
Right? So I will say between 2022 is when I expanded into the second section. And we had to have a water analysis and all those kind of things. And that was at the same time that the gentleman in the water department had retired, I believe.
Oh.
And then we received a new one. And so I was getting assessments and bills and all of these kind of things. One of them came in at like 12 grand, and my landlord's like, you're paying that, not me. And then it came back at 2,500, which I paid that one, but it was just, as a business owner, frustrating that I didn't know who I needed to talk to and for what reason. Because I went from having a church next door to me to now a 40-seat function room. The church met 3 times a week for up to 70 people, and I have a function room that I use maybe once a week, and all of a sudden I get this water bill because I've added all of this space. And it's like, if you look at the functionality, my toilets are flushing a lot less, and I understand like dishwasher and all those kind of things, but I still felt like my output was a lot less than what theirs was.
So unfortunately, the water department is a precinct.
Mhm.
There's actually three. There's Manchester, which is what I'm sure you're covered under. And then there's Grassmere, and then there's the Village, so you're most likely your Manchester
one.
Water. They're all separate precincts, so they really have nothing to do with the town. They have their own governance, and they have a board that runs the precinct. I don't know too much about Manchester precinct. Does anybody, do you know anything about that?
And I know how
talk
it-
to them often,
You do?
because we have issues, for film pools and things like
Yeah.
that. They're very friendly to talk to. If you call the office,
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure they'll have someone come down and check and see what it
actually
actually should
is.
be, yeah. We've had
I don't think they're gonna
adjustments.
cut me a check at this point. So we're just gonna leave it. so
No,
that
no,
they-
but they will make sure it doesn't happen again or
Right, well-
anything. So just talk to them.
And
They're
make
they're
sure-
very reasonable.
And make sure they're not overcharging you, like normally, they could probably check into
Put
that.
a meter or something.
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't know.
How's your business going? Are you having trouble hiring?
Not hiring, no. We have a great staff. I pay very fairly to retain them, but it's a struggle every day.
Yeah.
Well, you do a great job. I've been there quite a few times, and it's a good staff, very accommodating. Food is good,
Thanks.
for sure.
So actually, I live in an over 55 place, so we had a Christmas party a couple times.
Oh, did you? Oh, good.
So,
Thanks.
they know about you.
I think my only question is, what are you guys adding to the menu? You guys have some really creative things.
So the spring
What
menu is
happened
being worked
tomorrow?
on right now, so hopefully in the next 3 weeks, we'll have a new menu out.
And Joanna, are these things that we can, if we share a post, if the business has a new menu or an event coming out, these are things that we can share on the
Sure.
town's website as well to help promote that message.
If you post,
And on the town's Facebook.
They
we
share
should
quite a
share
bit,
it.
right.
Yeah,
Right, I've seen that.
And that's what I meant, I'm sorry, it was
Yeah.
town social media.
yeah.
All right, well, thank you
Thank
for
you.
coming in and
Thanks.
being a very active business owner in the town, and want to appreciate you coming in and speaking with us.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Cindy.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you. Thank you.
Okay.
So we have another business, or not business, but a church organization.
Oh, okay.
Joan Stevens is here.
Hi, Joan.
Do you want to come up?
Hello. I know some of you. I'm Joan Lane Stevens. I've lived here forever. And I'm here on behalf of the Goffstown Community Clothing Center. We are a business. We're operated by St. Matthew's Episcopal Church, but more than half of our 50 volunteers aren't St. Matthew's parishioners. Melanie is one of our volunteers. We take on new people anytime you want, so come on down and let us know if you have 2 hours a month to volunteer.
That's all.
We're finishing our 15th year. Our prices haven't changed since day one. In fact, one of our prices went down today from $3 for pajamas for kids through adults to $2. We have sales all the time. We serve over 2,000 people who walk into the store, purchase things, and leave every year. And that doesn't include the things that we do for free. The school nurses get free clothes from us to be able to serve their populations, especially those needy. We donate out to over 20 organizations, from animal places to people places. And we think we add to the economic climate of Goffstown because we have people who come from out of state even to our little shop. Our prices are for clothing $1 to $7. Most of them, I bought this there, it's a Tommy Hilfiger sweater for $3. I don't get a deal. I don't get
At a pay full price.
That's because you're a big deal.
So that's us, and we appreciate the climate in Goffstown, the friendliness, the help promoting and all that. And if there's anything else that we can do that you see, we'd be happy to consider it.
is there anything that we can do to help support you and your business, getting word out or advocating on your behalf? What can we do to support your business?
Yeah, that's a good question. I can't think of anything off the top of my head. The Main Street program, we participate in Friday night under the lights. We're only open, as of tomorrow, we'll be open 6 hours a week, which doesn't seem like many, but I'm telling you, sometimes in those 2 hours, we sell more than $500 worth of clothes and housewares. We also have small housewares. Can you think of anything from your standpoint?
I can tell you I'm grateful for those 2 extra hours that we'll have, because I can't tell you the number of times that I've been there working my shift, which really just feels like hanging out with my friends and impacting vacuums. I don't know if you know about that. But we often have people coming to the door. Like, the time isn't even on there, it's not the time for them to come in, but they're still coming. So there's a great need for it in the community. And I think you talked a bit about how when there's situations where individuals need access to clothing, to go to work, and things like that. These are special projects that they do, and they're saving our community a lot of money, especially individuals who don't have a lot of money, which is near and dear to my heart, and I know yours as well.
And anybody who calls the church office and says that they're in need, we'll let them come in when the shop is closed, because their human dignity is protected if they can shop in our shop like they would in a usual store, rather than getting a plastic bag and they go around and get free stuff when other people are there. So, we do try to accommodate people. We've helped a lot of the Ukrainians who have, there's one family that's settled in Goffstown now, and we 3 of them are working, 2 for the town of Goffstown and 1 for the town of Litchfield. And we provided them with clothes until now, when they can actually come in and spend their own money on it.
That's a great story.
That's great.
I think one thing that Joan didn't mention is that it's actually working a bit as an access point for people who weren't aware of other services that are available.
Yeah.
So this could be the first step when they realize that they could access some clothing or household goods that would help them. They also find out about many, many other things that happen in town and services that might be available to them.
Yeah, like the food pantry, we'll, if they are in need, we'll make sure they know about the food pantry. There's a program for seniors on Wednesday mornings out of St. Matthews, where if they need to be able to socialize and things like that, see a nurse for blood pressure and referrals, they can do that there. We have the volunteers from Crispin's house come in and learn about volunteering there, and sometimes their parents are in tow, so they learn about it. And to your point, we have people who, I can think of one woman who, after her husband died, 2 weeks after he died, she came into the shop and she said, "This is the first place I've been because I feel comfortable here." And it becomes almost a self-help group for many people. It's a place where they can go. They don't have to buy a cup of coffee. If we had room for a circle of chairs, I think we would put Apotheca out of business, because they would come and stay. So,
And I don't know if they're aware that you have, I'm not sure who the person is who's doing it, but they have some of the highest quality social media posts for the clothing center. I think, is it Mary who does them?
it's Mary Jenkins, and she's actually leaving that role with us. She'll do some stuff around the edges, but we're in desperate need of somebody who can do our social media posts, because that, in addition to how people's lives changed after COVID, I think thrifting is something that people are more comfortable with, and it's good for the environment. It may not be so good for retail economy, but it's a good thing.
So,
Yeah, so if you know any social media people, send them our way, and we'll
We
be
need
happy
help
to.
with
so
that.
maybe advertise. If people want to donate clothing or anything, what do they have to do?
Thank you. If anybody wants to donate very good to excellent quality clothing, because that's what we're proud to have in the shop, to to sell at our low prices. It's, the donations room is open almost 24/7. We've had to, in the past year, close it at Saturday noon and reopen it Monday morning because people are donating things despite our sign that says clothing and small housewares smaller than a toaster oven only. They're dropping off things that are practically as big as this table. And a lot of baby supplies that we can't sell because we don't know if they've been recalled or anything, so.
So then you have to take that stuff?
Then
that
we have to
you
try
have
to
do
find a
something
place
with
for
that,
it.
right?
Melanie's helped us. Sometimes we'll post it on Penardville, Goffstown.
We have a wonderful Buy Nothing group in
Yes.
Goffstown, extremely active.
What
And
was it, what did you call
Buy
it?
Nothing.
Buy nothing?
Buy
Yeah,
nothing.
it's free, we just.
That's all freebies?
Yeah, all freebies. There's a whole network of people in Goffstown that you might not know who during the day are shifting stuff from one home to another and not paying anything for it, and I think it's a great feature.
It is. Yeah, and we'll do some of that. We don't like to say that we do that because people will drop it off and say then we don't want to be the middleman for
Right.
that stuff. My husband and I go to the transfer station at least once a week with stuff. And even the transfer station, they'll let us put some things that are really good outside, and if it's still there in 24 hours, they'll put it in the hopper, which is too bad, but.
Only 24 hours? Only 24 hours they leave it there for?
Yeah, I believe so, yeah.
They
It might
get so
only,
many
it might be
things.
that day, like if it goes in the morning.
Remember when there used to be a swap
Yeah, there was a
shop there?
little,
Yeah.
shop.
Joanne and I go way back on trash.
On trash.
Recycle.
We've talked trash for many years.
Joanne, big trash talker.
Yeah.
So that's
Thank you.
us, and come in and see us if you haven't. You know, we're open Wednesdays, we're open the same time the pantry is, Wednesday evening 6 to 8, Saturday morning 10 to noon, and we'll be opening Thursday 3 to 5 starting tomorrow. We're hoping we'll maybe open on Tuesdays, and my dream would be to be open longer on Saturdays and maybe on a Friday in the late afternoon type thing.
Is that based on volunteers?
It is,
Okay.
yeah. It's a heck of a job. If I ever knew, 20 years ago that I'd be running a thrift shop, a retail operation, I'd, wonder. But it's been a delight to do it. The people I have worked with, both from the donating end, the volunteering end, the shopping end, they're just the best people.
Is there any, so if you have a social media post, advocating for or requesting volunteers, if there's something that we can cross promote through the town social media page too?
We'll probably do that again, ask for volunteers. We have more than 50, but they want to do about 2 hours a week. When I'm on vacation, I tend to go to thrift shops wherever we are to see how they do business, what could we do a little better.
Get some trade secrets
And-
from the,
And what I see are, in most of them, are two little old ladies who sit at the counter and do nothing but check out, take people's payment for things. And maybe I'll do that when I'm done being director.
Your retirement job?
But my second retirement job. So yeah, I mean, we have a new volunteer there tonight, and her sister Ginny McKinnon, many of you might know her. She had a candidate thing tonight, so wasn't able to be there. We don't fire people if they miss their shift. We just ask them to please try to find a sub or something like that. So I'm trying to get fired, but it hasn't.
I don't think that's gonna happen.
So
well,
that's
please keep in touch and let us know how we can, partner and collaborate or share messages or anything we can do to support your great business and,
All
and
right.
all the other side
Thank
businesses
you.
that are
Thank you
inside
for
of
what
it.
you do.
So, yes, thank you.
Thank you.
John.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
what you do too.
All right. All right, so Joanne, are we moving on to our open alternate position?
Yes. Oscar is here with us. Do you want to come?
Hey, Oscar.
Teve? So I don't remember if I sent out, I thought I did, but now I don't see it in my packet. Oh, here it is. Did you all get a copy of His volunteer.
Background, is that a background thing?
It just says volunteer application.
I don't see it.
Yeah, I don't see that.
Okay, well, I can read it, but Oscar can, elaborate. So Oscar filled out so once Gail, was it Gail? It's Gail who left. Gail just recently left.
Who used to be our recorder.
Yeah, she's still doing the minutes, but she's no longer an alternate.
Oh, I didn't even realize she was an alternate.
Yeah,
Wow,
she was an
yeah,
alternate.
okay.
So I posted the opening on Facebook, and Oscar saw it, and he filled out the application, and so he's here tonight to meet with the board. We have one alternate spot open. He has a BS in industrial engineering. He's worked as a process engineer and operations manager, and currently an industrial engineering supervisor. He wants to serve on the committee to see how he can help. He's been interested in bringing businesses to the town to help offset some of our tax worries and also make more opportunities available to the town residents. So he's here tonight to meet with you all, and if you, the process would be if you make a recommendation for the appointment, it has to be approved by the selectmen because this board can't appoint their own members, so it gets ratified basically by the select board. So do you want to introduce yourself and just
Sure.
talk about whatever?
Sure. My name is Oscar Arevalo. I've lived in town going on 10 years. Originally from Massachusetts, moved up here for the opportunities for my kids. Had family that lived up here, and they raved about the school system, so we had two kids that needed some better school systems, and so we moved up here. I found an opportunity to work in Manchester, and so we've been up here since then, since 2014. As I mentioned in the application, I want to help the town, so I've never owned a business. I always dreamed of owning one, but it hasn't happened yet. But any way I can help, this seemed like a way I could. So I don't know. It's just something I want to help in some way, and I'm seeing a lot of different things happening in town, and just some way to get my foot in the door to help in some kind of way. So.
I think that's great. I mean, that sums up most of every one of us here on the board.
The salary's not real. Just got to say.
Yeah.
Good perks.
Do you have any questions that we can answer for you, Oscar?
So it was cool to listen in on some of the stuff that was going on before, and just seeing some of the the goals that are on the minutes here, or whatever the paper is here. So I mean, we meet you meet once a month or so, or
Once a month, yep. So the first Wednesday of every month at 6 o'clock here.
Mm-hmm.
Usually we don't have a meeting in July. It'll usually fall around 4th of July. But every other month we will meet here. And really, I think, summarizing, our goals here, really just serving to how do we increase the attractiveness of starting a business and owning a business in Goffstown, including Penardville, and all of our Grassmere and the village. But how do we promote businesses here? How do we make it easier to start businesses? How do we increase transparency so that there's not surprise bills and assessments? We hear from a number of businesses when they're starting up. How we can increase some clarity of what to expect and make those connections. And then likewise, how do we help support the businesses that are here? How do we help them grow and thrive, advocate on their behalf, bring back opportunities, or helping promote different opportunities that there might be in the government for grants and other ways to offset some of the costs of doing business, all really promoting Goffstown and like you had mentioned, trying to offset the tax burden here and really helping continue making this a great place to live, work, own a business. So Did I summarize that? Okay. So, you know, always great to have like-minded folks that want to be involved and join the board. But yes, to answer your question, yes, once a month.
Is there a guidebook of some kind for businesses, or a guide?
There isn't, so we're working on the website. They just recently updated the website, just like a couple weeks ago. And we're looking to update some of our information. We have a page on there for economic development, or a couple pages. And somebody had come in recently, one of the business owners, and he said he didn't know anything about starting up a business, and he said it would be helpful to have some kind of a flow of what does he do first, what does he do next, and who does he go see, and what questions should he be asking, and things like that. So we're working on something like that to add to the new website.
And so these positions here, are they, you said they're
You're appointed to fill a term. So the term that you would be filling is the alternate position. I don't know how many years were left on it. They're normally 3-year terms, but say there was only 2 years left. Then it would expire in 2 years, and then if you wanted to be reappointed, you would just let us know, and then we would bring the names back to the select board, and they would vote on them.
okay.
So I can check to see how many years are left on her term.
Okay.
It should be actually right on the website.
Joanne, how does a alternate, I don't know the process, become a full member?
So once a full member, usually, right now, I don't think we have, no, Chris is an alternate too. So we have 2 alternate positions that we're allowed to have, and once a regular member resigns or doesn't want to, just doesn't want to participate any longer, then the opening appears for the alternate to move up. And typically they will take the oldest alternate first if they're interested. Some people just like to remain as an alternate depending on what they're
But that was
looking
my
for.
point, they would get
Yeah.
the first
They would-
opportunity to
Correct.
fill a full membership.
So in this case, if one of you left, Chris would get the opportunity. And
Joanne, what about Emma Purcell? Didn't she resign? Emma Purcell resigned her position?
you know what? That's the one I'm thinking of. It's actually Emma.
Okay, so it wasn't Gail, because
It
I
wasn't
thought
Gail.
Gail came off a
She
while
did.
ago.
Now that you say that, it was Emma.
Okay.
She just left, and I finally got the email from her that
Okay.
she was no longer serving. So it was Emma. Sorry about that. I thought it was Gail, but she has been off for a while.
Yes.
Yeah.
So how, would I still be able to, as an alternate, do you still participate in the meetings and
Oh,
such like
yes.
that? And
The only thing you wouldn't do is vote if
Okay.
there's a full board. If there's somebody missing that evening, then you would be the voting member, or
Okay.
either you or Chris.
Understood. Okay.
All the perks, none of the responsibility.
Okay.
We have a lot of contentious votes here.
Yeah, it's a contentious group. It's rough.
I've been in rougher rooms.
Yeah, I'm sure you have.
They will go unnamed.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Does anyone here own a business that?
Sarah.
Sarah does.
Yeah, me and my husband own Charlie's in Goffstown.
Oh, okay.
In Penarville.
Great, yeah. I like that place.
Thank you. We do too.
Yeah, does anyone have a question for me? I don't know.
I do.
Sure.
I'm Melanie, by the way.
Nice to
I'm
meet you.
probably your neighbor. I live on College Road.
Well, I live, actually, so you live in Penarville, I live almost in Dunbarton.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you've been here, but we've been here almost the same amount of time. So what do you like about Goffstown?
So besides the schools, I just think it's a neat place to live. It's tranquil. It's a peaceful place to live. We lived in Massachusetts. I lived in Lynn. So very, very, I liked it. My wife came from the Midwest, so she didn't like it so much. It was pretty urban. Not quite a fit for her. So this was a lot more her speed. It took me some getting used to, but I'm pretty used to it now.
Did you grow up in Lynn?
I grew up in East Boston.
Oh, East
Yeah.
Boston.
Yeah.
Okay, I know that area. pretty
Yeah.
well.
East Boston, Revere. And,
I used to deliver Coke in Lynn. Got
Right.
Coca-Cola.
That was good.
I used to have it once. I know it's on recording.
Yeah.
No, I know the area. I know the area.
Yeah, no, and just being around. I'm, my family's from El Salvador, so very country, and so that's kind of brings back some of that being out here. So.
Well, I can add that this is a good way to learn more about the town.
Yeah.
You know, because you do see a lot of pieces fitting in. We're kind of part of the planning process, obviously, but you get to know some of the players and what happens, some of the programs that are going on.
That was neat, just listening to the two ladies up before and what they were talking about.
Other questions for Oscar? So can we solicit a motion?
Yes.
To recommend Oscar to the select board?
I'd like to make a motion to recommend Oscar to this select board.
Melanie makes a motion,
I'll second.
Dick seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, so we'll make the the motion is approved to make the recommendation for Oscar, to the select board for Oscar to join the EDC as an alternate member. And fill that
I'll
position.
let
see
you
you
know.
soon.
All right.
I'll let
Thank
you know. Do they normally want to see the person or no? Okay. I'll let you know when they voted and then I'll send you a packet for the next meeting.
Okay, sounds good. Is it all right to
Great.
hang out still?
Yeah,
sure.
no, and sorry, I didn't mention it for everybody. Don't feel that you have to stay. Everybody's more than welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting, but certainly we won't be offended if you have to go to dinner. So moving on, so thank you, Oscar.
Yeah, thank you.
Great to meet you. Moving on to old business, Joanne, Newtown website. I think we've touched upon it a little bit, but
Has anyone, I can't even talk, has anyone been on the new website?
Yes.
I have.
It's a little confusing.
Is it? Needs some work. As
Well, I
was
don't
reading
think
the
they're
minutes-
changing anything because, I mean, as far as the layout, because it comes from a company, like it's kind of a canned
Yeah.
thing,
Oh,
where
okay.
most towns are using it. It's called Civic Plus. But we had training on it today on how to change our content in our own departments and post things. So
So
we'll
you
see
are
how
the
that
person-
goes.
You are the person that does that then?
Patty and I will be
Okay.
doing it, but it's, we'll see how it goes. It was a little confusing.
Do you think it's an upgrade though? I mean,
I get-
compared
you
to
know,
what
it-
we had?
I heard lots of people complain about the old one, and I like the old one. I think it was because I was so used to using it. So I think it's like anything, once you get used to it, it's fine. It's just things are in different places. And so what I do is if I can't find something, there's a little box at the top right, search, and I just put in what I'm looking for, and then it gives me some suggestions on what page it might be.
And I think they're still working on some stuff because I did a couple searches and one search came with the same search, came up with some things, and the second time I did it, I said, I don't think that was it.
Oh, really?
And I got this different,
Yeah, they probably are.
Yeah.
The other thing is right now they have 1 year's worth of the minutes, or actually it's 2 years, 24 and 23 of the minutes are up there, but their minutes go back to, I think it's something like 2005 or something. They have to still upload all of those minutes, and it takes a while to do that. So that's happening at the same time. But I did have them before any of this occurred, as far as the training. I did ask them to update certain things, like the links to the state sites that you asked for. That's been done. The labor market information has been updated. The fees are now all there. A couple of the links were broken when they brought over the information. That's all been updated. And comments made by business owners that had been on there when we had that little section about what do you like about the town. That's been fixed. So there's still some other things that we need to work on, but, you know, it's a kind of a learning curve right now. So we'll get it done.
It's a work in progress, but I think a lot of those elements are things that we've been talking about, and it, you know, looking through it, if you know that you're going to the economic development page, and there's the link, pretty big button right there
Yeah.
in the middle of the page, and lists out those resources, has your contact information, you know,
Yeah.
starting a new business, and hopefully provides a little more, you know, guidance for folks on how to get started and to direct them over to you.
That's what I still need to work on.
Yeah, that seems to be, you know, again, it was mentioned by Cindy, that seems to be every time we have somebody coming in that are business owners,
Yeah.
they have difficulty finding
Right.
the people, or the person to talk to, or
Right.
the department to go to.
Yeah.
So I think that's what we're aiming for, right, is to try to get that flow for them.
Because the man who was here, he said, if it says economic, like his comment was, if it says economic development, I would never think to go there. He wants it very
Business
simple and
business
to the point,
information.
like, right, something with the word business in it, so we'll have to,
Can we add one of those links to the, so, I know you talked about, you know, how it's laid out and it's canned, and if we can't add or modify the economic development button, or, you know, it looks like maybe the bottom, there's some opportunity for the quick links. You know,
Yeah.
if we had, you know, business down there, that, you know, new business or business, whatever we wanna say, to link that back, maybe there's some customization that we can do to different parts on that page. Plus the search function, you know, if that's
right.
churning out, you know,
Yeah.
the appropriate results that will direct them.
We used to have a button called How Do I?
There is, so
And
it's
there
up
is
there, and
a
I did
button.
notice that, and there's not.
like nothing there, really.
It's that, I'm
Yeah.
glad you brought that up, because I was looking at that, and I think that would be a good place
Yeah.
to add another link. So how do I start a business, and then link that back?
Yeah.
Because there's nothing on there, it's how to, you know, put a bid in, or, you know, but not how to start a business.
Maybe it's not finished yet. I don't really know, but I can find out. So that's all I really had for that.
Okay.
So, as long as it's user-friendly, right? It's gotta be
Right,
as.
right. The trouble is that if it's not user-friendly, people won't use it. They just get frustrated with it. So then underneath the Newtown website, I added, on my copy, the Bridge Ad Hoc Committee. Dick wanted to give you an update.
All right, what do we got, Dick?
I'm on? Okay.
You're on.
Well, as you know, there is an ad hoc pedestrian bridge committee. It's the second iteration of the bridge committee that started back in 2020. And so our committee has been working since March of 2022. And basically our charter ends in May. So we're coming to a conclusion as to what report we're going to give in. So I'm going to give you some information. This is not official, but I just wanted to bring you up to date because I'm the representative for economic development. And what our charge was to, number one, we were working off the initial committee's report that actually put a bridge idea together, design, costs, all of that. So that our charge was then to see how we can fund this pedestrian bridge going forward and looking for sources of funding. And it started, our first obstacle was that we had to, we saw that a lot of grants, when you apply for a grant, obviously, they want to know that you have the backing, number one, of the town, but you also own the land that anything is going to be built on. The town owns the land. So we had, the first problem we had to encounter was that the bridge abutment is close to Rotary Park. And so we've been in negotiations with the town, well, I'm sorry, not the town and Rotary Club have been negotiating to buy, the town to buy that land, so we can own it, so that the next step, if we should apply for a grant, we can say, this is our land. The other thing that we were charged to do is to find a mechanism where we could bring in private funds. So a 501(c) was obviously what we'd want to develop. What we decided to do is, and with the cooperation of the town and the Friends of the Goffstown Rail Trail, because this is the natural finish to the rail trail. It's going to bring the rail trail over the river into town. Obviously, part of that is the economic impact that hopefully we could have, get people on that trail and bring them in town. So it extends obviously all the way into Manchester. Bernardville is affected by it as well. So we worked with the Goffstown Rail Trail. David Pierce, the guy, he's got so much information, and he's kind of built that rail trail pretty much on his own. But we are going to use them as the 501(c), and they're going to be the conduit to take funds, private funds in. And the other thing that we found was there is a grant that we are in line for, which will be given out this fall, and it's the TAP, they call it the TAP grant, which is a New Hampshire grant, and it's for purposes of this such, to enhance communities. And it's from the Department of Transportation. And David Pierce has done a lot of these grants to build the extension of the rail trail. And he did a great job in trying to work on just the wording of this grant. And he feels, through the Southern New Hampshire Planning Commission, which he's worked with, that we have a good chance to be in line for this grant. And the expected cost of the bridge, as everybody knows from the first committee, is about $1.25 million, and that's probably gone up since that number was brought up. And any grant that we get is going to be, obviously, it's 80. The town or private funds have to be put in for 20% of that. So if we can get this grant, that would be the start. We would then have the 501(c) in place to be able to bring in private funds. We would go solicit these funds. Anybody could, obviously community members could come in. We hope that somebody would come in with a big chunk of change and say, okay, here's the 20%. But so we're going to present the final report to the select board in May, because that's when our charter ends. And the other thing we are going to suggest is they extend that ad hoc committee or appoint another committee for another 2 years, so that they could be the people that would work on any grants that would be coming in. Then we'd have to get the Department of Public Works involved as well, because they'd be the ones that would be kind of the spearheading any construction and that sort of thing. So you know, I think we've accomplished a lot. I think, you know, in the scheme of things, a pedestrian bridge for people, and especially now in times like this, the way we're talking about taxes and that sort of thing, and money that people have to spend, it's probably not the first thing on anybody's list, but it certainly would enhance our town. And I'm excited that it hopefully can happen. There's one other piece, and we've all heard about the dams, and that we're going to lose the Hadley Falls Dam pretty much. But part of that, and I think Jim and a couple of the other select board members have been working with this, there could be a possibility when the state decides to come in and, well, to take that dam down, they have funds that can then redesign that whole riverbed. And part of that, we're hoping, part of that money could be used towards this pedestrian bridge. So that could factor into down the road. So I just wanted to make sure that you brought you up to date. I don't think I've talked about this in a while, and we've done a lot. We've been meeting every month. We have a meeting. Our meeting was last night, and we'll have a couple more before we present a final report. Any questions?
How much is the grant for?
Granted, it can be $1 million.
It can be that
Yeah,
much.
up to $1
Wow.
million, as we
Okay.
understand it.
That's good.
So 20% of the project would have to be funded by
Private funds, right.
private funds. So it sounds like there's a lot of great work, and especially in looking on how to reduce any contributions from the town, which I'm sure the select board would appreciate.
Yeah.
That's a lot of great work, and when did you say that the grants are awarded?
Be this fall. It'll be this fall. If everything went, the timeline that we're talking about, everything went right and we could raise some of that private funding, I'd estimate that 2028 would be the time where you'd see a pedestrian bridge, if everything fell into place. But that's a big if. But again, I think it would be a great enhancement for the town, especially since what's happening with the dam. We don't know how that's gonna look, but there'll always be that gap that's the end of the rail trail. You gotta get over whatever's gonna be there, so there'll still be a need for the bridge. So any other questions?
Just a comment, I've always had a concern about, we have most of our big events are in that area, and it's often a problem till we closed off.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. There's gonna be, once they open those 3 apartment buildings over there, it's gonna be more trouble.
Yeah.
Hope it's not trouble, maybe.
Well,
Activity, let's say.
yeah, activity is right.
And more economic activity.
More
Right, no,
customers.
it's true.
Right. But, I mean, it is another way, a connector. I mean, we talk about the other end of town, Pinardville. I mean, it's a connector. So, I mean, I go on the rail trail a lot, going into Manchester and back, and I think a lot of people use it. And it's a really great asset, and this is just kind of the finishing touch on it as well. I mean, down the road, someday they're saying they want to connect with the new Boston rail trail that's being built, but I think this is a great asset, and a lot of people that when I say I'm from Goffstown, and that people that ride bikes and or hike, they know the Goffstown Rail Trail, because it's a good one.
All right, thanks, Dick. Appreciate
You're
the
welcome.
update. That's
You're
great.
welcome.
All right, so moving on for new business, Joanne, any comments or specific items to bring up for the planning board agenda?
Not really. Most of it is residential, and the one that is commercial has already been approved, and they're just making a change to their drainage system. So it's mostly residential.
Okay. Anybody else, any questions or items for the planning board agenda?
And the first residential one is 26 condominium units in Pinardville.
That's in Pinardville?
Yeah, I think so, by Dennis Park Road. All right, thank you. So items for next agenda. So next agenda, Joanne, are we going to solicit nominations and motions and elections for chairs and vice chairs? Are we discussing?
Yeah, so you'll be voting on chair and vice chair at that meeting.
Okay.
And then usually what you do after that is review the goals that are currently listed.
Okay. All right, so that is for April 3rd. So we've reached the end of our agenda items for tonight. Any other pressing business that folks want to bring up for today?
No?
All right.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn made by
Second.
Dick, seconded very quickly by Melanie, and so all in favor?
Aye.
All right, so that concludes March's Economic Development Council. Thank you so much for our guests and
Yes, thank you.
and Oscar for coming to discuss the alternate position. Have a good night, everybody.